Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all here this evening to Stellarton Town Council meeting, January 14th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. start time. First item is the approval of the agenda. Is there any changes, additions to the agenda?
Yes, Your Worship. There's a request here from the current and former employees of Northern Pulp. I'd like to have that added to the agenda, please.
Sure. So Northern Pulp letter number 10. I wanted to add a number 11. We'll name it volunteer efforts. Was anyone else want that in there?
Yes, Your Worship. I'd like to, maybe I don't have to add it as an agenda issue. I'll just ask the town engineer when he comes up.
Sounds good, Councillor Pence. Thank you. So we'll move next council meeting to number 12, open forum 13, and adjourn 14. So could I have a seconder for the agenda, please?
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. We have two sets of minutes from December 10th. There was a public hearing, and December 10th, a regular council meeting. Can we do them in one motion? Can I have a motion, please?
So move as written, Your Worship.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded. Motion carried unanimously. Item 3 is a presentation. Citizen Representative Nancy Terrace from Nova Scotia Housing. Welcome, Nancy.
Yes, good evening, Your Worship and councillors. I don't know if you're all aware or not, but my name is Nancy Terrace. I am a representative for the town of Stellarton with the Eastern Mainland Housing. I attend 10 meetings a year, and 2 of which would be July and August, they don't have any meetings, and 2 are in Guysborough and Antigonish County. And anyway, it's been a pleasure. I've been there since 2017, and my term will be finished 2020. There's a couple of issues that Brian is aware of that I'd like to bring to your attention and hope that maybe you could help us with. One is our green bins. They're disastrous on Poplar Street. They need to be replaced. And I also want to bring to the attention that our parking lot on the Poplar Street side is very crowded. We don't have room for emergency vehicles. And there's a section on Poplar Street between the shed and Mr. McLeod's property that we feel could be turned into additional parking. I'm not sure if that's possible or not, but I thought perhaps you could help us with it. We have brought it to the attention of the housing, and so far they haven't moved on it. We were having trouble when I first moved in there with getting them to respond appropriately, but since a number of things have taken place, they've been doing a great job. They've been excellent, and they're working very diligently, and I hope it continues. And anyway, that's my piece, and thank you very much for allowing me to talk.
Thank you, Nancy. I just have a quick question for you. The green bins, does that mean the compost green bins? So if you call the landfill, they should come replace those for you.
The landfill?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Your Worship. She's doing a better job than the last person did.
Who was the last person? Thank you very much, Nancy, for your service. We appreciate it. Thank you for the presentation tonight as well. The reports from the elected, they are now written and they're part of the council package, so unless anyone has anything to mention from the report, I would just like to mention that the Christmas party was again at the fire hall this year. I really want to thank Susan and Dwight for putting it on. It's a lot of work, and I know Susan was running around all night, and I imagine for days beforehand. So thank you to the firefighters and Susan and Dwight in particular for that event. It's a great event. Staff loves it, and it's always well received. So thank you.
Our pleasure.
I have a motion to accept the reports, please.
So move, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Deputy Mayor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Reports from staff, 5A is police. We had that presented at the police commission meeting, so it's here for information purposes. Do we move it? Kevin?
I move it, Your Worship.
I second.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Knight, seconded by Councillor Wand. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Building official Fire Inspector Emily Jones is next. She's not present with us this evening, so if any questions, we can contact her via email. Is there anything anyone would like to highlight in the report? I just wanted to mention that the orders have gone down from 14 to 11, so we are making some progress in terms of the orders and the on-site and things like that. So that's good to see. It's been a little while. We're making progress now. So,
Your Worship, it was good to see that property come down on McLean Street. It looks really good now. When you're driving down Lawrence Boulevard, you don't see that mess anymore.
agreed. Thank you, Councillor Pence. So can I have a motion to accept the report as presented, please?
I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Second that, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Campbell, seconded by Councillor Pence. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. 5C, Rachel McLean, Planning and Development Officer.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have my report as submitted. Do you have any questions?
I don't. Does anyone else in council? No, it was well done and clearly explained. Thank you very much.
That's that report is written, Your Worship.
Second that.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Wand. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried. Thank you. Item 5D is Chief Dwight Campbell, Fire Department.
Your Worship, Councillors, you have my report for the month.
Pass the report as written, Your Worship.
I'll second it, Your Worship.
On the question, I'd just like to point out a couple of things from the Fire Department. The Fire Department made a $500 donation to the Toys Department for the IWK Hospital in Halifax. They stopped the G.R. Saunders Elementary School on December 21st with Santa and his helpers, and give each child a bag of chips and a bottle of pop. Once again, donated by the Fire Department. And Christmas Eve, as everyone probably knows, the big tradition of the fire truck going around with Santa on back, waving to all the kids. That's what happened again this year, and that is truly a Stellarton tradition, and thank you to the Fire Department for that as well. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Uh, 5E is from Paul Corbin, Community Development and Recreation. He's not here as well. Is there anything anyone would like to highlight in his report?
The question, Your Worship, do we know when the volunteer dinner is, or? No? Okay. Thank you.
So we'll move on. Okay, I have a motion to accept that, please.
I second that. Councillor Luan, would you like me to get back to you on the dates? Okay.
So moved by Councillor Wan, seconded by Deputy Mayor Knight. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 5F, Blaine Murray, Town Engineer.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. You have my reports as submitted. Just a thing to highlight, the library roof is complete. Scaffolding's 50% done, should be down in the next day or two. Have any questions?
I don't. Does Council?
No, not really a question, but Blaine, I just want to relay a message from some of the residents that I've been talking to. Very happy with the urgency that the town has shown in clearing out the snow. Very well done. This is a topic that was dear to my heart since I started as a councillor, and all I hear now is positive things, so thank you very much.
I guess it's My turn. Blaine, I had a call from two businesses on the main street. Now, the concern on the main street is, I'm not saying every snowstorm it should be cleared, but what we have there now is you have seniors getting out of their vehicles and they got to climb over snowbanks in order to get to the sidewalks. Now, is it possible to have that cleaned?
Yes, I guess just a little bit of history. I guess there's no policy per se to we call it lift snow off the main street, but past practices we'd always remove snow on a big storm, or if we got consecutive smaller storms, and once it builds up, we would remove it. That's similar to other towns. I've looked into our listserv, which is a group of public works engineers and directors that kind of look after the same kind of situation we do. It's all similar. They're all similar to our kind of procedure. Now I know one municipality in the valley, they had a written policy that stated that, set by council, that stated every, after a snowstorm and amounts of 15 centimeters or more of snowfall, they would remove snow, or similar, if we had similar consecutive smaller storms that kind of added up to 15 plus centimeters, they remove the storm. So that's kind of what we go for when we remove those.
Well, I'd like to make the policy that 15 centimeters or more at a reasonable time. Now, I'm not saying that after your men are working around the clock that they come out the next day and clean that snow, but within a reasonable time that it gets cleaned off the main street. I started council in 1988, and for 16 years we kept that main street reasonably clean. And I think they pay a business tax, and I think we should give them the service. And I'll make that a motion.
I'll second that motion, Your Honor. There's another thing I want to highlight there.
What is the motion?
That if we have a snowstorm with 15 centimeters of snow or more, that the town works clean the main street within a reasonable time.
Yes, Your Worship, and there's another thing we have to take in consideration. Ford Street is one of the busiest streets in Pictou County. It's a main highway. It's not a side street like New Glasgow. Ice builds up there. I've driven down there the other night. People are opening their car doors. The other big issue is they're parking now a foot and a half to 2 feet away from the curb because they can't get up close to the curb. That's cutting down the passageway for cars going through there. It's a dangerous situation we're putting it in. It rained the other night. We had ice build up, and there's seniors. I had a call from a gentleman who had a cane and was trying to get over that snowbank, and there's ice there. So I feel very strongly that we have to do something with that main street. If it was like a side street, that would be one thing, but it should be cleaned.
On the question, I'll note that I think New Glasgow right now is the same situation in their streets. So I think, can we kick it back to staff to come back with us with a draft policy maybe?
I don't have a problem with the draft policy, Your Worship, but I'd like to see tomorrow that main street cleaned, or within this week, if at all possible.
Your Worship, the only question that I have is, I don't like ambiguity. So when we say within a reasonable time frame, what that means to me could be different from what it means to anybody else. So whatever the policy is going to be, I think it needs to have some timelines into it.
Just one other item I'd like to add. When we get a storm, we always look at the forecast in advance. So say, for example, tonight we were to get 20 centimeters. Once we would look in the forecast, if it's scheduled another 5 to 10 centimeters on Wednesday or Thursday, we would wait till after the snowstorm was done and to remove the snow. The other thing is to mention too is that there needs to be some time frame to rest our staff. If they're out all night for 2 nights clearing snow and sidewalks, they need a night off to kind of to get rest, and we typically remove snow from 12 at night, midnight to the morning. So.
Your worship, that's why I said a reasonable time. If you want to kick it back to staff, that's fine, but I want to see the main street clean, if at all possible.
Now, next week, we are expecting 15 centimeters Sunday, 5 to 10 Monday, I believe. I think there's 3 Tuesday, and then Thursday, Friday is like 5 to 10 centimeters each day. So
the other question about budgets, and we haven't talked about money, but are we willing to put more money in the budget for this? Because there's currently, I don't even know if there is budget money right now for it or not, if it's past practice. How many times did we do it last year? Do you know? Oh, that's, yeah.
Your worship, as per your suggestion, I would ask that the staff provide something to us that we can intelligently talk about.
The mover's all right with that?
Yes, your worship, as long as we can get the front street cleaned within the next couple of days for the next snowstorm.
Yes, Your Worship, I'm okay with it, but it's been a week out there that we haven't had that sidewalk cleaned.
So what's your plan for that? Are we going to wait till the snow next week?
the snow we got last week was 5 centimeters, so it wouldn't fall into that 15 centimeters over threshold that we said. But now the storm's going to, like I said, next week, it's going to snow every day. So we could clean it now, but then we're going to have to, and I wouldn't recommend cleaning it before it's all done. Because we'd be just, there's,
That's what I would suggest, Your Worship.
You able to do that amount of cleaning and still remain within budget?
oh, we can, we're just under 40% for our snow removal budget for the year. We're just getting into snow removal season, really. So, you know, it'll fit in the budget now. I don't know where it'll fit in the end of March.
Does the rest of the council feel about this?
Blaine, I guess the budget is the budget, but the question that I have is, do you have the resources to do it? Because if you don't have the resources, then the question is mute. You do? Okay. So I think the council wishes is to get it done, and then we'll see what budget comes to talk with that.
You okay with that, Councillor Campbell?
I just have one thing to say. I was standing in front of the post office last week, cars parked both sides of the street, and the big plow coming down, and I was just holding my breath because there's not much room for those plows to get down the street when they're parked on both sides. I wouldn't want to be driving one of those trucks because he was like that far away. So, you know, parking on both sides in the wintertime, maybe we should be looking at that.
Well, the motion's been withdrawn. Okay. The mover and the seconder have withdrawn it. So now we're at the point where we're providing direction to staff to clean the front street. Thank you. Yeah. So we'll also ask the engineer for a draft policy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Blaine.
Okay, next item is correspondence. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Councillor Pence.
I'll move, Your Worship.
Second it, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Deputy Mayor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Contrary minded. Motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6 is correspondence. Would the clerk like to speak to it?
This piece of correspondence was received from the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors. It's regarding deed transfer tax. Dear councillors, the Nova Scotia Association of Realtors represents more than 1,500 members throughout the province who are dedicated to improving the quality of life for everyone who lives and works here. We are pleased to partner with strong leaders who recognize the important social, environmental, and economic impacts of the real estate industry on our communities. Realtors in Nova Scotia have been lobbying municipal and provincial governments officials to amend deed transfer tax policies. Realtors propose that municipalities either waive the DTT for the first-time buyers on the purchase of their home or extend the DTT payment period over 5 years. Each of these options can be tailored to suit the respective needs of municipalities. For municipalities, a change in collection of the DTT would reduce budget fluctuations if chosen to spread the payment over 5 years and would permit appropriate fiscal planning. For first-time homebuyers, waiving the tax would ease financial burdens at the time of purchase and encourage home buying in your municipality and our province. Extending the payment period of DTT will allow housing acquisition costs to be spread out over a number of years, as DTT payments can equal up to 1/3 of a 5% down payment for first-time buyers. In 2018, new homeowners have boosted their local economies through spin-off spending, which averages $44,150 per transaction in Nova Scotia, plus an increased property tax base. Nova Scotian homeowners will also contribute an estimated $29.9 million in municipal taxes through the province in 2018. In the new year, realtors from your community will reach out to schedule one-on-one conversations and offer council presentations on our proposal. I encourage you to consider our proposal and how it can benefit your community and our provincial economy. If you have any questions, please reach out.
We'll table that for information. Everyone okay with that? Okay. The next piece of correspondence.
So this was received from Nova Scotia Power on December 4th, 2018, and this is regarding the storm and response. And unless council wants me to read it out, I will, but it's just basically talking about how they kept their customers informed and the reliability investments for that storm that took place on November 28th and 29th.
Thank you, and it is available in the council package if anyone wants to read it in full. And the third piece of correspondence?
This was passed on from Councillor Knight, or excuse me, Deputy Mayor Knight, from Gary Matheson, regarding putting up signs for the sports complex, which would give better directions and locations for the building.
Speaking of that, Your Worship, one of the problems is new people coming into town trying to find the sports complex. The other issue is the GPS. I guess it's sending them off above Poplar Street, down a side street, so it's confusing. What basically wants to do is put some signs in the pole, directional signs to the sports complex. The soccer complex or sports complex this way.
Don't see that being an issue. Does anyone have a problem with it? No? Okay, so we can provide that direction. So that's it for items. We accept them as correspondence. We need a motion.
Seconded.
Moved by Councillor Warren, seconded by Deputy Mayor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7 is Committee of the Whole report. There was no meeting in December, so there's...
That is correct, Your Worship. However, there was a request to council via email, so I would like to get that ratified. It was from Challenger Baseball. Pictou County Challenger Baseball is a program offered to children and young adults with intellectual and physical disabilities, which is going into its 6th year in 2019. Our team is going to Toronto in July of 2019 to play on the Rogers Centre Field with some of the Blue Jays as part of the National Challenger Baseball Jamboree. To make this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity a reality, we have to do lots of fundraising. On January 26, 2019, at the NSCC Pictou campus in Stellarton, Pictou County Challenger Baseball will be hosting a musical event with multiple bands donating their time to the cause. We will be having live music, food and drinks, and a silent auction. We are approaching local businesses and individuals to see if there's an interest in supporting this endeavor. We will be offering an advertising opportunity at the event. Plans are to have signs on each table representing sponsors or the opportunity to have banner bug placed in the foyer where people are entering. They are requesting $200 from the town of Stellarton.
As the clerk indicated, we already discussed this via email and approved it. We recognize the Challenger Baseball is run predominantly, I believe, by Stellarton people. It's run in the Stellarton field as well. So we made can we have a motion now, please?
So move, Your Worship.
I'll second that, Your Worship.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Deputy Mayor Knight. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item number 8 is resolution number 2019-01, Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program.
Be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of Stellarton that the Town Clerk and Town Engineer be authorized to submit applications for projects under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, ICIP for the following prioritized projects for the fiscal years 2019-20 and 2020-21. Number 1, Kirk Avenue and Rutherford Street Infrastructure Renewal Project for the amount of $2,142,334,000. And number 2, Rundle Infrastructure Renewal Project, $1,594,823.
So this is the, we expect new federal money to be coming down the pipe soon, and we're preparing these proposals so that when it is announced, we're ready to go with the proposals to the government. These have been identified by staff the top priority areas for, I think it's mainly sewer replacement, water and sewer. So can I have if there's any discussion or a motion?
I'd move the resolution as written, Your Worship.
I second that, Your Worship, and I believe the federal government is going to subsidize for 76%.
I believe it's 26 cent dollars for us, so we'll be paying 26 cents towards every dollar, which is a good deal, obviously. Any further question, discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 9 is what we had earlier on for the public hearing. Habitat for Humanity donation of land for 94 Poplar Street. As I mentioned, the public hearing that Habitat for Humanity's Pictou County chapter started about 2.5 years ago. And they've identified 94 poplars over the area. They like to do their first build here in Pictou County. I went up and canvassed the area there about a month ago to tell the residents about what their plans are up there. I didn't receive any negative feedback, so we're going to move forward with that. Can I have a motion, please?
So move, Your Worship.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor Pence, seconded by Councillor Campbell. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 10 is the Northern Pulp letter.
Your Worship, I'll speak on that. As you know, I wasn't in favor of the municipal councils getting involved in this. I don't feel we have the expertise. I think it's a federal provincial matter. However, we've already supported the group from the Strait, and personally I feel that we should support this letter. I make a motion that we send a letter of support to the government, and the reason being, of course, Premier McNeil is looking for public feedback, and I think we should send this letter in, if nothing else, to stay neutral.
Seconder?
Yes, I would second that, Your Worship. I think I've let my feeling known in the past, where I stand on the subject. Both needs to live together, and we need to get to a resolution on this matter that is acceptable for both, and the closure is not an option, and I would second this.
Okay, so I do have a couple of concerns. The one then being the open-endedness of the time frame. There's no until a certain date. It's just until some things are done, which these are very open-ended in my perspective. And I'd also like to hear from Pictou Landing First Nation what they think of the extension too before we went ahead and wrote a letter. That'd be my thoughts on it. How does the rest of the council feel?
I'm in agreement with that.
I'll invite the chief here to our next meeting.
Your Worship, I have the utmost respect for the chief and their input and the First Nation. And some people may say I live in Stellarton, so I don't have a vested interest in the strait, but that's not the fact, because a lot of my residents here work in that pulp mill and at the same time eat some of the seafood that comes out of that strait. So the vested interest is in both ways. Nevertheless, the matter is a little bit of a sensitive matter, and it is a little bit of an urgent matter as well. I don't know if delaying the issue and getting the feedback is going to change my mind. As I said earlier, I would like both to coexist, and all we're asking is for an extension so that they can figure out what they can do.
Correct, but we're not really talking about the fishermen here. We're talking about the Pictou Landing's First Nation. That's where the boat harbor resides in their land. That's why they're the main stakeholder. I think we probably should hear from them before we make any decisions.
Hey, Worship, I can respect your opinion. I understand where you're coming from. My only concern is we're getting too deep into the matter politically, and my view is that we should send this letter and cut it off there. And we've given both sides a chance to be heard. But if we keep going on, we could be dragging more people in. This thing we could end up. And I go back to saying the municipal government, this town doesn't need to get into that battle. We've got too many battles in 2019 that we have to deal with without taking that on. That's my opinion.
I guess we want to go to the question, or do? Okay. So all those in favor of the motion to write the letter to Stephen McNeil, please say aye. Aye. Contrary minded?
Nay.
Can we still invite the chief here to our next meeting? Thank you. Item 11 is volunteer efforts. I wanted to read this out. Senator Michael McDonald presented Senate 150 medals to 3 longtime community volunteers from Pictou County last Saturday at an event in Plymouth. Receiving the medals were Joanne Cummington of New Glasgow, Ann Emmett of Pictou, and Alan Murray of Stellarton. The Senate of Canada 150 medal celebrates the 150th anniversary of the first sitting of the Senate and was created to recognize the outstanding contributions of Canadians from all walks of life through generosity, dedication, volunteerism, and hard work. Alan Murray is an active volunteer in Pictou County. He serves as treasurer of the First Presbyterian Church in Stellarton, the Stellarton Homecoming Committee, and the Aberdeen Hospital Auxiliary, as well as over 21 years as a tax volunteer for the Community Volunteer Income Tax Program, organizing tax clinics for seniors. He is also active with the Warm Hearts Refugee Group. Senator McDonald was joined at the presentation by local members of the Legislative Assembly, Pat Dunn, Pictou Centre, Tim Houston, Pictou East, and Carol McFarland, Pictou West. We recognized, Town of Stellarton recognized Alan Murray last February as our Volunteer of the Year. We are thrilled that Senator Michael McDonald also chose to recognize Alan Murray's volunteer efforts with the Senate 150 medal. Well deserved, and congratulations to Alan. Thank you. So we'll move on to, is there any comments? Move on to item 12, I believe, which is next council meeting, February 11th, 2019, 5:30 p.m. start time. And our next item is the open forum. Does anyone like to speak? I think former Councillor Richardson would know to press the button on the...
My name is Bryce Richardson. I'm a lifelong citizen of the town of Stellarton. I want to get something straight first. There's 1, 2, 3 councillors are in favor of that letter being sent to the government. Is that correct? Councillor Campbell and the mayor are kind of sticky on it. Is that correct? Would you give me a reason why?
I think I already did. I said the open-endedness of the time frame. There's no specific time in the letter. And also, I don't feel like I should to tell the natives to put up with that for a few more years. I don't think it's my part to do that. So I'd like to hear their point of view before I went ahead and wrote the letter.
You know what? First of all,
press your button again.
then press it. First of all, I want to say, like, first of all, you have no business whatsoever getting involved in this whatsoever. What makes you think this is a Stellarton Town Council? You're talking about First Nations coming here to the meeting and giving their views on it and all this and that. This is the town of Stellarton. We got citizens here, a lot of them here tonight, rock-hard citizens that work down that pulp mill. They go to work every day, do a real job. They make real money. They pay real federal, provincial, and municipal taxes to the town of Stellarton. And what makes you think that you have the right to jeopardize their livelihood, along with hundreds of other people that work down that pulp mill, contractors, small business owners? You got people working in the woods that are struggling every day to pay for the equipment to haul pulp into the pulp mill. You got truckers hauling pulp in there or trying to scratch a living out of it. what makes you think that you have the right, either one is, to judge and publicly announce that you're not quite in favor of it? But
We said we're not in favor of writing the letter, not in favor of the pulp mill.
the word out in the street, Danny,
You can press the button again.
that's the word out in the street.
Well, I can't control what the word in the street is, Bryce. I know what my opinion is.
What is your opinion?
I'd like to see them both coexist.
What business do you have even getting involved in this? You're a municipal council.
Well, then why'd you ask us to write a letter? You want us to get involved.
People to run the town of Stellarton.
Anyway, I'm not going to get in the back and forth.
Do something useful as councillors. We got a health crisis here in this province. Get involved in something like that.
We did.
Or maybe write a letter or call
We did.
the premier of PEI and tell him to mind his own business and clean up his own mess instead of worrying about what's going over here. That would be something useful. Do you realize by you...
Your button's not on again, Bryce.
By you, I think I'm talking loud enough that people can hear me anyway. Yeah. Okay. I think, you're getting involved in something you shouldn't be involved in at all. You're just a small-time municipal politician. If you want to get on the big stage, get involved in the things that make a difference. Don't be trying to fool around with the livelihood of people in this town and in this county and in this province.
I like how you turned into a personal attack, but okay.
It's not a personal attack. It's not a personal attack at all.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak?
Good evening, Councillor and residents here. My name is Brian Atkinson. I'm a resident of Stellarton and have a couple of issues. I was coming down the main street here the other night about 10 o'clock in the evening. Lucky I know the road and the streets. A lady came out from Sam's with a pizza and I pretty near hit her. If I was going a little faster, I would have. I got out and explained to her that there's crosswalks. You have to cross the crosswalks there. She said, look, I'm very sorry. I mean, anyway, it was lucky nobody got hurt in that one. And I don't know, I noticed a lot of these crosswalks where you got the yellow line there, you're not supposed to park. I don't know, I see in other areas where they could put a temporary post in there during the day or whatever that pulls out. So people can't park there, and when they go to remove the snow, they can pull the post out. Maybe something you can look at, that's all I want to say, thanks.
Thank you. It does seem to be an issue with parking those yellow lines. Anyone else like to speak at the open forum?
Good afternoon, Tom Dutai, Stellarton resident for 10 years. I work at Northern Pulp. I'm not going to hide from that. I'm on the television with it already. Danny, I haven't been to many town council meetings, but I was at the one where the Friends of Northumberland Strait came and presented. And I remember a very simple comment from everybody in this room. Someone said, what does it hurt to send that letter in to ask for a federal assessment and support on this stuff? Okay, what does it hurt? I don't know. But what we're telling you right now is, if we don't show community support, that we do want these jobs, we do want these people living in our towns, we do want to be part of a contributing county, town, municipal unit, what can it hurt by sending this letter to say, give them the time so that both sides can coexist? Because I've heard 3 councillors already tonight say, we want coexistence. That's what this letter is. It's asking for time to make sure we can coexist. And there's a lot of tax-paying residents in this town that need to know their councillors have their back. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.
I move that the meeting adjourns.
I was. And it's not a mute point either. If he doesn't have the contract.